Welcome to Greenhouse again. Well, today is a story about Proteas. Proteas are very exotic plants. Well, I grew up in Moscow, Central Russia, and almost everything which you see here around was exotic for me. Palms were exotic, cycads were exotic, everything was exotic, but Proteas was most exotic stuff. Why? Because they don't typically grow in North Hemisphere at all. So only few lineages can reach Central America or East Asia. Proteas or Protea family is almost entirely South African, South American, Australian lineage. So we call this Gondwana, the old continent. So Proteas are Gondwana plants. Second thing about them was absolutely crazy structured flowers and inflorescences. So in Proteas, flowers are very small, but they come together in big structures like an aster family. However, it's absolutely independent from aster family at all. And finally, when they start to do DNA analysis, they found that Proteas is one of the most basal group of flowering plants, so also unique in that way. So in greenhouse, we have some Proteas. As you hear from me, South Africa, Australia, and South America are, well, many of them as dry tropical regions. So it's not easy to cultivate plants from dry places in that greenhouse. But some plants, mostly from Australian Queensland, tropical wet region of Australian northeast coast, can be cultivated here, and I will show 3 of them. So this is one. This is a Buckingamia. Buckingamia plant demonstrates one of the core features of Proteus. One day were named Proteus. So Proteus is a god of the sea, and it can make any shape. Well, if you remember Tolkien Silmarillion, so it's analogous to Ulmo. And so what is any shape? This is a shape of leaves. In Buckingamia, leaves could be like, for example, this is a fern-like leaf, right? And this is almost linear leaf without any attachment. So that's absolutely crazy to see such a difference of forms within one plant and sometimes even within one branch. So Buckingamia is typical Australian Proteas. The second one, which I like a lot, is a Firewheel Tree, Stenocarpus. It's also very Protean. Leaves are modifying a lot. This guy grows in dry places, but as you see, can survive also wet greenhouse. Will at some point flower with red circular inflorescences, so they call Firewheel Tree. And finally, this is a Grevillea. So Silky Oak. Silky Oak, I have a branch here which I took out for trimming. So Silky Oak is Australian tree which dominate the forest. So it's not very safe to keep it in greenhouse. It always wants to grow higher. So, but again, demonstration is that the leaves of Silky Oak, silky, and also are very variable in shape. Very variable in dissection. It will flower with bright orange flowers. Silky oak is cultivated almost everywhere in tropics because it can survive almost any climate and even pollution. So it may be cultivated on the street sides. Well, and finally, I like to draw your attention to the other group. This is a barberry family, but look on leaves. So barberry family, this is a Mahonia. And this is very similar to Proteas. What is funny, nobody thought about any similarities between barberries and Proteas until they found that by DNA structure, this group and that group are close enough. So that is interesting explanation of similarity. Thank you.